Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today's video is going to blow your mind, especially if you're the type to check your change or dig through that old jar of coins in your kitchen drawer. Because we're talking about the 1967 Washington quarter, a coin that has recently become the center of rumors, speculation, and even claims of a staggering $1.8 million valuation. That's right. One coin, one quarter, 25 cents in face value, possibly worth $1.8 million. So what's going on here? What makes this coin so special? Is it hype or reality? Is it even possible that you have one sitting in your pocket right now? Let's break it all down, starting with the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The obverse, or front of the coin, features a left-facing portrait of Washington, designed by John Flanagan. That design remained the same until the state quarters program launched in 1999. But let's zoom in on 1967. This was a very unique year in American coinage history. Just 2 years earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint stopped using silver in its dimes and quarters due to the rising cost of silver. Prior to that, quarters were made of 90% silver. But starting in 1965, they were made using a copper-nickel clad composition, a sandwich of copper core with nickel outer layers. That means the 1967 Washington quarter contains no silver at all. So on the surface, it's just a common, modern coin. And in most cases, it is. Over 1.5 billion 1967 quarters were minted that year. Yes, billion, with a B. They were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and because of special laws in place at the time, none of the coins carried a mint mark. Not only that, but the U.S. Mint suspended proof sets and mint sets between 1965 and 1967 to discourage coin hoarding. So no coins from 1967 have a traditional proof version. So with over a billion of these quarters out there, you might be thinking there's no way one could be worth millions. And yet, that's where things get interesting. Over the years, collectors have discovered that a few 1967 quarters were struck with rare mint errors, and in extremely rare cases, some were possibly struck using leftover silver planchets from pre-1965 production. These are known as transitional errors, and they're the kind of mistakes that can turn an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. That a transitional error happens when a coin is struck using a metal composition or blank that was not intended for that year. For example, if a 1967 quarter was struck on a 1964 silver planchet, it would appear nearly identical to a regular coin, but it would weigh slightly more and have a different sound and appearance. These silver transitional errors have been confirmed in other years, and while extremely rare, they can fetch massive amounts of money at auction. Now here's where the big number comes in. There have been reports online of a 1967 Washington quarter selling or being valued at $1.8 million due to a combination of factors. The story usually goes something like this. The coin was struck on a silver planchet. It had a double die error, and it was preserved in pristine, flawless condition. In other words, it was a perfect storm of rarity, mistake, and preservation. As of now, there's no publicly confirmed auction sale of a 1967 quarter selling for exactly $1.8 million. However, rare error coins, especially those that are unique or nearly flawless, have been known to break 7 figures. It's not unheard of in the coin world. A coin with multiple errors and perfect grading can easily reach astronomical prices, particularly if it is the only one known to exist in that condition. Let's be clear though. Most 1967 quarters are still worth only 25 cents. Some may fetch a few dollars if they're in brilliant, uncirculated condition. A really high-grade example, say MS-67 or MS-68, might be worth $100 to several $100s. But it's those rare, almost mythical versions, the ones with silver composition or major die errors, that might skyrocket into the thousands or even millions. What should you be looking for? First, check the coin's weight. A standard 1967 copper-nickel quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs slightly more, around 6.25 grams. If your coin feels heavy or has a different ring when dropped, that might be a sign of a different composition. Next, inspect the details of the design. Look closely at the date and the lettering. Are there signs of doubling? That could mean you have a double die error. Examine the edges. Does it have a copper stripe? If not, and it appears solid silver colored all the way through, that could be another clue that you'll want to use a precise digital scale, a magnifying glass, or microscope, and compare it with a known 1967 quarter. And if something seems off, don't jump to conclusions, but do get it checked out by a professional. Send it to a respected grading company like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin, identify any errors, and give it a grade that determines its condition and potential market value. Also, and this is important, never clean your coin. Even if you think it looks dirty or old, cleaning it can destroy the original surface and drop its value dramatically. Serious collectors and grading companies prefer coins exactly as they were found. So, is there a 1967 quarter worth $1.8 million? Maybe. If one exists with the right combination of errors, rare materials, and perfect condition, then yes, it's absolutely possible. And even if you don't have $1 million coin, finding one worth a few hundred or a few thousand would still be an amazing discovery. The real lesson here is simple. Check your change. Look through old jars. Go back to that box of coins you inherited from a relative. Because while most quarters are just 25 cents, a few of them are windows into American history, and a rare few could be your ticket to a life-changing payday. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more amazing coin stories, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And let us know in the comments, have you ever found a rare or valuable coin in your change? Or maybe you've got a 1967 quarter you're curious about. We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep your eyes open, stay curious, and happy collecting. If you'd like, I can provide a shorter version for YouTube Shorts or a follow-up episode idea that compares 1965 to 1969 Washington quarters and their hidden values. Just let me know. Welcome back to the channel. If you love coins, hidden treasures, and the thrill of finding fortune in the most unexpected places, then this video is going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1984 D Washington quarter, a coin you might have in your pocket or change jar right now. But what if I told you that one version of this coin is rumored to be worth as much as $1.4 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1.40 in quarters is usually what you need for a soda. But one of these particular quarters could be worth a life-changing $1.4 million. So how is that possible? What's the story behind the 1984 D quarter, and what should you be looking for? Let's start with the background. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. Originally introduced to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the coin has remained one of the most iconic pieces of American currency. The design features a left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse and, on the reverse, a bald eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a symbol of strength and peace. By 1984, the coin was made using the standard copper-nickel clad composition that had been in place since 1965. That means it's not made of silver. Instead, it has a copper core with a nickel outer layer, making it look silver-colored but with no actual silver content. Now, the 1984 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver, as indicated by the small letter D on the front of the coin near the bottom right side of Washington's ponytail. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 546 million quarters. That's a huge number. So by default, this coin is considered common. If you have a 1984 D quarter in circulated condition, meaning it's been used in everyday transactions, it's usually worth no more than face value. But here's where it gets interesting. In the world of coin collecting, it's not just about how many were made. It's about how many were made incorrectly. Mint errors, unique production quirks, and near-perfect condition coins can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. Some 1984 D quarters have been found with remarkable errors that make them rare and valuable. One such example is a quarter with a double die, where parts of the design, such as the date or lettering, appear to be stamped twice. These errors happen during the minting process when a coin is struck more than once by a misaligned die, creating a shadow-like doubling effect. Coins like this can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on severity and condition. There are also off-center strike errors, where the coin design is not properly centered. These mistakes are highly collectible and can be worth hundreds or more depending on how dramatic the error is. Other errors include clipped planchets, die cracks, or coins struck on the wrong metal blank. For example, a quarter accidentally struck on a nickel or foreign coin blank. Where does the story of the $1.4 million 1984 D quarter come from? While no official record shows a public auction sale of a 1984 D quarter for exactly $1.4 million, the number comes from collector legends and high-value private sale rumors that spread quickly online. The most common theory behind the million-dollar value is that an extremely rare 1984 D quarter exists with multiple mint errors struck on the wrong metal planchet and preserved in a nearly flawless condition. Add all those factors together: rarity, error, uniqueness, and condition, and yes, it's theoretically possible for a coin like that to be worth over $1 million. Let's be realistic. Most 1984 D quarters are only worth 25 cents. But certain ones, the ones with errors or those in high uncirculated grades, can be worth much more. In fact, 1984 D quarters graded MS 67 or better have been known to sell for over $1,000 at major auctions. That's a massive jump from pocket change. What should you look for? Start with the condition. If your 1984 D quarter looks brand new, with no signs of wear or scratches, it might be in mint state condition. These coins are worth getting professionally graded. Next, look for errors. You'll want to examine your coin under good lighting and use a magnifying glass or digital microscope. Check for doubling in the lettering, date, or mint mark. Look at the edges for clipping or unusual shapes. Check the weight too. A normal copper-nickel quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs more or less than expected, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet. If you find anything that seems off or unusual, do not clean the coin. Cleaning it can lower its value dramatically. Instead, place it in a protective sleeve and consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. They can confirm if you have a genuine mint error and assign a grade, which helps determine its market value. Now let's talk about how to sell a valuable quarter. If your coin is verified as a high-grade or error coin, you have options. You can sell it at auction through a major numismatic company. You can offer it through reputable coin dealers or collector forums, or you can even list it on high-end collector platforms. But always make sure you have the coin properly authenticated and graded first, especially if it's something rare. So, is there a 1984 D quarter worth $1.4 million? While no confirmed public sale has reached that exact figure, it's not impossible. The combination of a rare error, perfect condition, and collector interest can drive prices to shocking levels. It's the kind of coin that collectors dream about, one of a kind, mysterious, and possibly sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar. That's what makes coin collecting so fascinating. You never know what you might find in the most ordinary places. It's a reminder that treasure doesn't always come in gold bars or buried chests. Sometimes, it comes in the form of a simple quarter minted in Denver in 1984. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1984 D Washington quarter and the legends surrounding its hidden value, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more stories just like this. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And let us know in the comments, have you ever found a coin with an error? Or do you think you might be holding onto a rare piece of history? Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and happy collecting. Would you like a shorter version of this script for YouTube Shorts or a split version for a two-part series? I can also create one that focuses only on error types. Just say the word. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going deep into the world of American coinage with one of the most talked about coins in recent years, the 1988 D Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary quarter. You might have handled hundreds of them without a second thought. But there's a growing buzz online that one version of this seemingly ordinary coin is worth as much as $1.2 million. That's right, $1.2 million for a single quarter. So what's behind the hype? Could you really be sitting on a fortune and not even know it? Let's get into the facts, the history, and the reality behind the myth. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932. It was originally introduced to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The portrait of Washington that appears on the front of the coin, known as the obverse, was created by sculptor John Flanagan and remained the primary design for decades. In 1988, the coin still followed that classic format. The reverse side featured the bald eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both war and peace. Now let's talk about the 1988 D specifically. The D mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, one of the primary mints in the United States. In 1988, the Denver Mint struck over 596 million Washington quarters. That's a huge number, which means most of these coins are still considered common and are only worth their face value. But, as collectors know, it's not always about how many were made. It's about the condition, the rarity, and the errors that in most cases. A circulated 1988 D quarter, the kind you'd find in your change, is worth about 25 cents. But in uncirculated condition, the value can rise significantly. Quarters graded MS 65 or higher can be worth a few dollars. In rare cases, if the coin is in near-perfect condition, say MS 67 or MS 68, the value can jump to several $100s or more, depending on demand and market conditions. But here's where things get interesting. Some collectors and coin enthusiasts believe there are extremely rare error versions of the 1988 D Washington quarter that could be worth tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And online, there are viral stories suggesting that one of these coins sold for as much as $1.2 million. Let's break that down. Where does the idea of $1 million 1988 D quarter come from? Most of these claims center around extremely rare mint errors. These could include doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a quarter that was accidentally struck on a nickel or penny blank, or a coin that shows two impressions of the design slightly offset from each other. Errors like these are extremely rare and extremely valuable to the right collector. Some error coins from the 1980s have sold for thousands of dollars. A few rare examples with significant doubling or planchet errors have even topped 5 figures at auction. So while no official public record exists of a 1988 D Washington quarter selling for exactly $1.2 million, the theory is that an ultra-rare, possibly unique, error coin might fetch that kind of money if discovered and authenticated. Now let's talk about what to look for if you have a 1988 D quarter and you want to know if it's worth anything. First, look at the coin's condition. If the surfaces are clean, shiny, and show no signs of wear, it might be considered uncirculated. Next, examine the coin carefully for signs of errors. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the mint mark. Is it doubled? Does anything look off or out of place? Also, check the date and lettering. Doubling around the numbers or letters can indicate a double die error. Inspect the edges of the coin. If the copper layer underneath the nickel coating is missing or exposed on one side, you might have a missing clad layer error. And if the coin seems smaller, thinner, or thicker than normal, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet. Any of these signs are worth investigating. If you spot something unusual, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy its collector value. Instead, store it safely and consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and evaluation. These services can confirm whether you truly have something rare, and they can also assign an official grade that will help you sell the coin if you choose to do so. Now, let's address the big question. Is there really a 1988 D Washington quarter worth $1.2 million? The short answer is probably not. At least, not one that has been verified and sold at a major public auction. The $1.2 million figure seems to stem from speculation, private sale rumors, or online listings where sellers put outrageous prices on error coins hoping to go viral. But don't let that discourage you. Coins with unusual errors and perfect condition grades have been known to fetch thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars. The key is to know what to look for and to always verify the value with real data and reputable sources. So, if you have a 1988 D quarter sitting in a drawer, it might be worth a second look. While it's unlikely you'll find a $1 million coin, you never know. Your pocket change could contain a rare piece of history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1988 D Washington quarter, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin in your change, or if you have a question about coin collecting. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. We've got more amazing coin stories coming up, and who knows, the next $1 million discovery might be right in your hands. Until next time, keep searching, stay curious, and happy collecting. If you'd like, I can also write a YouTube Shorts version or break this down into sections for a multi-part video series. Let me know what format you prefer. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden stories and hidden treasures in everyday coins. Today's episode is going to be a game changer because we're talking about a seemingly ordinary coin, the 1993 D Washington Quarter. You've probably seen this coin in your spare change, maybe even handed it over for a cup of coffee. But what if I told you that some believe a rare version of this coin could be worth as much as $1.3 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1.3 million. For a quarter. Let's break down the facts, the history, and the controversy surrounding this fascinating piece of American currency. Let's start with the basics. The Washington Quarter has been in production since 1932, originally created to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin features a profile of Washington on the front, known as the obverse, and a bald eagle on the reverse. This design was used until the state quarters program began in 1999. In 1993, the Denver Mint produced over 645 million Washington quarters. That's a massive mintage, which means that in normal circulated condition, these coins are not considered rare. In fact, most 1993 D quarters are still only worth their face value, just 25 cents. But, as with many coins, the value isn't just about how many were made. It's about how well they were made. It's about rarity, condition, and the presence of unusual mint errors. For the average collector, a 1993 D quarter in circulated condition is worth face value. But if you find one in mint state, that's where the value starts to climb. A coin graded MS 65, meaning it's in near-perfect uncirculated condition, might sell for $5 to $10. Coins graded MS 67 or higher can fetch over $100, and in some rare cases, prices have reached several hundred or even $1,000, depending on market demand and rarity. Now, here's where the story takes a wild turn. Over the past few years, rumors have surfaced online that a rare 1993 D Washington Quarter sold or was valued at $1.3 million. These claims often appear on social media, in collector forums, and in viral videos, but they rarely include any proof. So let's separate the hype from the history. First, it's important to understand what could make a quarter worth that much money. It would need to be a one-of-a-kind error or a historically significant minting mistake. Some of the rarest coins in the world have unusual origins, struck on the wrong metal, missing a layer, or featuring double designs from a faulty die.so. Could a 1993 D quarter have been struck with a double die error or on the wrong planchet? Technically, yes. These types of errors have occurred before in other years. For example, quarters struck on cent planchets, nickels, or even foreign coin blanks have been documented and sold for thousands. Coins with strong double die errors, where the design elements appear twice, are also highly sought after by collectors and can sell for huge amounts. But here's the truth. As of now, there is no official record of a 1993 D Washington Quarter being sold at auction for $1.3 million. No listing from Heritage Auctions. No verification from PCGS or NGC. No graded and documented coin at that price point has ever been publicly acknowledged. Where does the million-dollar rumor come from? The answer likely lies in speculation, exaggerated online listings, or private sales that have never been authenticated. Sometimes sellers on eBay or other sites list coins for outrageous prices just to generate attention. You might see a quarter listed for $1 million, but that doesn't mean it actually sold for that amount. That said, there are legitimate reasons to examine your 1993 D quarters carefully. While $1 million coin is extremely unlikely, a rare mint error or a perfectly preserved coin can still bring in serious cash. Imagine finding a double die, a clipped planchet, or a full blockage error. Those kinds of errors can easily push a coin's value into the hundreds or thousands of dollars, and that's not speculation. Those sales happen all the time in the real world of numismatics. If you want to check your 1993 D quarter for value, here's what to look for. First, examine the condition. Is it scratched, worn down, or discolored? Or does it look like it just came out of the mint? If it looks flawless, you might want to consider having it professionally graded. Next, Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a digital microscope. Inspect the mint mark and date. Are the letters and numbers doubled? That could indicate a doubled die. Is the coin oddly shaped or missing part of its design? That could be a missed strike or a clipped planchet. Does the coin feel lighter or heavier than usual? That might suggest it was struck on the wrong metal. Once you've done your inspection, you should compare your findings with trusted online sources and consider sending your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will not only grade the coin, but also authenticate any errors, which can massively increase its resale value. And remember, don't clean the coin. Even wiping it with a cloth can damage its surface and reduce its value. Always store collectible coins in protective holders and handle them carefully. So, is it true that a 1993 D. Washington quarter is worth $1.3 million? While there's no confirmed public record of such a sale, it's certainly possible that a unique, one-of-a-kind mint error could command an astronomical price in the right market. But for most of us, the thrill lies in the hunt, checking every coin, flipping it over, studying the details, and imagining the possibilities. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the 1993 D. Washington quarter, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you think you might have a valuable quarter hiding in your collection. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a future episode. We've got more deep dives into rare and valuable coins coming soon. Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like this script formatted for teleprompter use, split into multiple parts for a video series, or shortened for a 60-second YouTube Shorts video. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the surprising value of everyday pocket change. In today's video, we're turning our attention to a coin that many people overlook, the 1991 P. Washington quarter. It's a coin you've probably seen hundreds of times without a second thought. But what if I told you that a rare version of the 1991 P quarter has been rumored to be worth as much as $1.5 million? That's right, $1.5 million for a single quarter. The question is, how is that even possible? Is it true? And could one of these coins be hiding in your own collection or even your spare change? Let's dive into the full story of the 1991 P. Washington quarter, the facts behind the coin, what makes it special, and what to look for if you want to know whether you've struck gold, or should I say, struck clad. First, let's talk about the background of the Washington quarter. This coin was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design features a profile of Washington on the front, created by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse, showing a bald eagle with outstretched wings, was the standard design until the state quarters program launched in 1999. Now let's zoom in on the year 1991. The United States Mint was operating with full force. In that year, the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the small letter P on the front of the coin just above the date, produced over 571 million Washington quarters. That's more than 500 million coins, which makes the 1991 P quarter extremely common in circulation. Most of these coins, especially those that have seen years of use, are worth exactly 25 cents. But as any seasoned collector will tell you, the story doesn't stop at mintage numbers. Coin value is influenced by three key factors: condition, rarity, and errors. When those three come together in just the right way, a coin that seems ordinary can suddenly become incredibly valuable. Let's start with condition. If you have a 1991 P quarter in mint state, meaning it looks like it just left the factory with no wear or damage, it could be worth more than face value. Coins graded MS 65 or higher can sell for $10 to $20. At MS 67 or MS 68, which are considered near perfect, prices can climb into the hundreds. These are coins that have been carefully preserved and professionally graded by trusted organizations like PCGS or NGC. But we're not just here to talk about coins worth a few $100s. Let's address the million-dollar question. Where does the claim of a 1991 P. Washington quarter being worth $1.5 million come from? The answer lies in the possibility of extreme mint errors. Rare coin errors have a long history of fetching huge prices at auction. We're talking about coins struck on the wrong metal planchet, coins with major double dies, off-center strikes, or coins that were never meant to exist in the first place. For example, if a 1991 P quarter was accidentally struck on a silver planchet, a blank intended for a coin from before 1965, that would be a serious error. Or imagine if a coin from 1991 was struck using the wrong die or featured a dramatic double die error. Even more rare would be a quarter struck with mismatched dies from another denomination, like a cent or a dime. These are real types of mint mistakes that have happened in U.S. history, and collectors go crazy for them. Now imagine one of those errors being paired with a coin in nearly perfect condition. That's where you get the kind of rarity and demand that can drive prices into the stratosphere. While there is no official, publicly documented sale of a 1991 P quarter going for $1.5 million at a major auction house, the number comes from speculation and stories about one-of-a-kind specimens circulating in private collections or being listed at extremely high asking prices that, in other words, if such a coin does exist, it would need to be absolutely unique. A flawless mint error with no known duplicates, preserved in exceptional condition. That kind of rarity, combined with the attention it would receive in the numismatic world, could theoretically push it into the million-dollar range. Now let's talk about what you can do to see if your 1991 P quarter is worth more than 25 cents. First, examine the coin's surface. Is it scratched, dull, or worn? Or does it shine like the day it was minted? If it looks uncirculated, you might be looking at a higher value coin. Next, grab a magnifying glass or coin microscope and study the details. Look closely at the date, the lettering, and the mint mark. Check for signs of doubling, which could indicate a double die error. Also, examine the edges. A normal clad quarter should show a visible copper layer sandwiched between two silvery nickel layers. If the edge looks completely silver, you might have a wrong planchet error. Weighing the coin can also help. A standard quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If your coin is heavier or lighter, that could point to an unusual composition or strike error. If something looks unusual, or you just have a gut feeling, don't clean the coin, ever. Cleaning reduces a coin's value. Instead, place it in a protective sleeve and send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can certify the coin's grade, authenticate any errors, and make it eligible for sale at reputable auction houses. And if your coin turns out to be something truly rare, you'll have the documentation to prove it, and possibly the golden ticket to a very big payday. So, is there a 1991 P quarter worth $1.5 million? Right now, that number is more legend than confirmed fact. But given the right error, the right condition, and the right market demand, it's not impossible. Stranger things have happened in the world of rare coins. The takeaway here is this: check your change. Look at every quarter. Search through that old jar of coins sitting on your dresser or hidden in a shoebox in your closet. Because hidden treasures do exist, and one simple quarter could turn out to be worth far more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, or just love hearing about rare coins and hidden fortune, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below and tell us if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you think you might have a valuable 1991 P quarter sitting in your collection. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss another video. Until next time, stay curious, keep checking your change, and happy collecting. Would you like a script variation for YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, or perhaps a breakdown version for a multi-part educational series? I'd be glad to help tailor it to your channel's needs. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden stories and surprising values behind the coins in your pocket. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1990 D Washington quarter. You might have one of these in your change jar right now, but what if I told you that one version of this coin is rumored to be worth over $1.1 million? That's right, a single quarter. So, how can a coin minted in 1990 possibly carry a value like that? Let's get into the history, the facts, the myths, and what to look for if you think you might be holding something extraordinary. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was originally issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth and has since become a staple in American coinage. The design on the front of the coin, known as the obverse, features a portrait of George Washington designed by John Flanagan. That design remained mostly unchanged for decades, with only minor tweaks over the years until the state quarters program launched in 1999, Fast forward to 1990. The United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year. Specifically, the Denver Mint, which you can identify by the small D mint mark on the coin, produced over 927 million Washington quarters. On the surface, that sounds like a very common coin, and in most cases, it is. The vast majority of 1990 D Washington quarters are still only worth their face value, 25 cents. But as with many things in the world of numismatics or coin collecting, the devil is in the details. While 99% of these quarters are worth pocket change, a tiny percentage, and I mean a very tiny percentage, have characteristics that make them incredibly rare and extremely valuable. So why are some of these coins worth more than others? It comes down to condition, minting errors, and in some cases, rumors that stir the imagination of collectors and investors alike. Let's start with condition. A 1990 D quarter in average circulated condition is worth about 25 cents. But if you find one in near-perfect uncirculated condition, say, graded MS 67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, its value can climb significantly. Some of these coins in pristine condition have sold for a few $100s. One MS 67 example even sold at auction for around $1,400. That's a lot more than a quarter, but still nowhere near 1.1 million. So where does the $1 million figure come from? There have been online rumors and viral posts claiming that a rare 1990 D Washington quarter sold or was listed for $1.1 million. These claims are often based on extreme mint errors, such as double die obverse, die clashes, or off-center strikes, combined with perfect coin grading. One such coin allegedly featured a combination of rare features: a double die mint mark, a wing die clash, and flawless surface condition. Add to that a deep cameo finish and a theoretical perfect grade, and the legend of the $1 million quarter was born. But here's the thing. As of today, no 1990 D Washington quarter has ever sold at a legitimate auction for $1.1 million. The most expensive ones top out in the low four figures. That said, the hype around rare mint errors and high-grade coins has created a buzz that continues to drive interest in these quarters. Now, let's talk about what you should actually be looking for if you want to determine whether your 1990 D quarter might be valuable. First, check the condition. If the coin looks brand new, has no visible wear, and still has a bright, lustrous shine, it could be considered uncirculated. You might want to get it graded professionally. Second, inspect the coin for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to look closely at the mint mark. Is it doubled? Does it look like there are extra lines or shadows around the letters or date? That could be a double die. Also look for strange features on the surface of the coin. A wing die clash, for example, happens when the die from one side of the coin presses a partial image onto the other side, creating ghost-like impressions where they shouldn't be. Third, research the market. Just because someone lists a coin online for $1 million doesn't mean it's actually worth that. Look at verified auction sales from trusted platforms. Sites like Heritage Auctions or PCGS auction results will give you real data on what collectors are actually paying. And finally, don't clean the coin. Cleaning a coin, even with the best intentions, can ruin its value. Collectors and grading companies prefer coins in their original condition, even if they're a little dirty. So, is there a 1990 D Washington quarter out there worth $1.1 million? The answer is probably not. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't check your change. Rare errors and high-grade coins do exist, and even if you find a coin worth a few hundred or a few $1,000s, that's a great return on 25 cents. The real value of coin collecting isn't just in the money. It's in the hunt, the history, and the excitement of discovering something rare. And who knows, maybe one day a coin like this will actually sell for over $1 million, and when it does, it might just be one you found in your pocket. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the coins that could be hiding in your own home. Drop a comment if you've ever come across a rare quarter, and let us know what you'd do if you found one worth $1 million. Until next time, keep checking your change and happy collecting. Would you like a version tailored for a shorter YouTube Shorts video or Instagram Reel as well?